The stars looked quiet above the ship Horizon Echo. It moved slowly near the edge of human space. The crew had finished a long mission and was going home. But then something strange happened. Inside the ship, Captain Laura Grant sat in her chair. On the bridge, she was a tall woman with sharp eyes. She looked at the screen in front of her. A signal was coming from deep space. It was not human. It repeated again and again. Eric Barnes, the ship's communication expert, looked confused. He pressed a few buttons and turned to Laura. "It is not from any known language, but it is repeating like a warning or a call," Eric said. Laura stood up and walked closer to the screen. "Where is it coming from?" "From a planet not on our maps. It is surrounded by broken ships. Big ones, not human," Eric said. Nina Wells, the pilot, spoke from her seat. "We should not go. That place looks dangerous." Laura stayed silent for a moment. Then she said, "We are explorers. We find the unknown. Set course for the planet." The ship turned and moved toward the strange world. As they came close, they saw hundreds of ships floating in space. They were all broken, like they had been in a great battle. "What happened here?" Nina whispered. "No signs of life, no signals. Just silence," Eric said. They landed on the planet near the signal. The air was thin, but the suits would protect them. Laura, Eric, and 2 crew members stepped outside. The ground was black rock. The sky was grey and still. They walked for an hour until they saw a tall structure made of dark metal. It was shaped like a tower, but with no doors or windows. In the center was a glowing panel with symbols. Eric walked up to the panel and touched it. "It feels warm," he said. "Don't touch anything more," Laura said. But it was too late. The panel lit up and the symbols moved. A beam of light shot into the sky. "What did you do?" One crew member shouted. "I just touched it." "I didn't press anything," Eric said. They ran back to the ship. The signal was now stronger. It was no longer a call. It was a message. Something had changed. Back on the bridge, Laura looked at the data. This thing. It sent something. A pulse. Eric nodded. It went very far. Across the galaxy. "Can you tell what it said?" Nina asked. Eric looked worried. "It was not a message to us. It was a message to someone else." Far away, in a dark part of the galaxy, a machine came to life. It had not moved for a very long time. Lights flashed. Something inside it opened. The stars around it shook back on Horizon Echo. Laura stood in the command room. "We may have started something. We need to leave now and report this." As the ship lifted off, the structure on the planet began to sink into the ground. The light in the sky faded, but something far away was now moving. They flew fast toward human space. On the way, they passed a patrol ship. The other ship stopped to scan the strange signal. Soon, that ship was silent. No more messages came from it. Eric sat alone in his room, listening to the signal again. He tried to understand it. The more he listened, the more it felt like a warning, but not for humans. It was meant to keep something away, to lock something. Laura called a meeting in the main room. She looked at her crew. "We found something we don't understand. We woke it up. We must warn Earth." Everyone nodded. No one spoke. Fear was in their eyes. In another part of space, a black ship moved. It had no lights. It made no sound. It moved fast and without warning. It did not answer any calls. The crew of Horizon Echo did not know it yet, but they had sent a message. to a sleeping monster. And now it was awake. Days passed since Horizon Echo left the strange planet. The crew stayed quiet. Everyone was thinking about the signal and what they had found. Captain Laura Grant sent a full report to Earth Command. She asked for a meeting with the Science Council. She said the signal was dangerous, but Earth Command was busy. They did not believe the warning. They said it was probably just an old machine from a dead race. Nothing to worry about. Laura knew better. She had seen the wrecked ships in space. She had seen the towers send its light into the stars. Something was wrong. Then the news came. A human patrol ship near the outer edge of space went silent. No messages. No signs. Gone. A rescue ship went after it. That ship also disappeared. Now Earth Command was listening. They called Horizon Echo back to human space. Laura and her crew changed course. As they moved, they heard more bad news. Space stations near the signal area were gone. No signs of battle, just silence. Eric Barnes sat in front of his screen. He was looking at the signal again. It had changed. It now had a pattern, like a voice, like something was speaking. "Captain, I think it's a message now," Eric said. Laura walked over. "What kind of message?" Eric looked worried. "It says, the seal is broken. We are free on Earth." Leaders from different colonies met. They talked for hours. Some wanted to send ships. Others said it was not their problem, while they argued. Something huge entered human space. A ship, bigger than any seen before, came out of deep space. It looked like a dark insect. Its surface was covered in sharp black metal. It made no sound. It gave no warning. The ship moved to Station 8. It fired one beam. The whole station was gone. No one escaped. Fighter ships went after the alien vessel. They used the best weapons humans had. Lasers, missiles, railguns. Nothing worked. The alien ship moved fast. It tore through the human ships like paper. Only one ship got away. It sent a short message. "We broke the seal. They are free." Panic spread across the human colonies. People remembered the signal. They remembered the tower. Everyone looked at the sky with fear. Laura sat with her crew. They watched the news in silence. Then she stood up. "We started this. We must help end it." Nina Wells, the pilot, looked at her. "How can we stop something like that? We find answers. We find out what they are," Laura said. Later, at a meeting with Earth Command, the faces on the screen looked tired and afraid. One general spoke. "We believe this enemy is the core guy." Old legends spoke of them. A race so deadly that ancient species joined together to trap them. "We thought it was just a story." Laura leaned forward. "We found the lock. We opened it." The general nodded. "Now they are free, and they remember." Humanity began to prepare. Ships were called back. Defense lines were made. But the core guy were fast. They did not wait. Planet after planet fell. Colonies vanished. Stations stopped sending messages. No one could stop the core guy. One base on Ganymede, a moon of Jupiter, found old alien records. They showed how the tower was part of a system made to keep the core guy trapped. Eric read the files. It was not a signal. It was a lock. We opened it. Laura looked around at her team. "Then we must find a way to close it." The team on Horizon Echo began to search. They used the alien files to find more places like the tower. Maybe they could fix it. Maybe they could trap the Korgai again. As they searched, more Korgai ships entered human space. The battles were short. The losses were many. But people did not give up. One last message from a dying station gave hope. They are not gods. They can bleed. Laura smiled when she heard it. If they can bleed, they can be stopped. She gave new orders. We will go to every tower. We will find every key. We will fight. We will seal them again. The war had begun, but so had the resistance. The stars were no longer safe. The Korgai had started their attack. Human colonies were falling one by one. Their ships came without warning and destroyed everything. People ran. Ships tried to hide. But there was no place safe enough, Captain. Laura Grant sat in the command room of Horizon Echo. The crew looked tired. Some looked scared, but they were still ready. They knew what they had to do. We have to fight back. We have to find a way to stop them, Laura said. Eric Barnes stood. Beside her, he was holding a report from the base on Ganymede. He pointed to a map. These are the places where the towers might be. There were once 5. We found 1. That means 4 are still out there. Nina Wells looked at the map. Are we going to visit? All of them, Laura nodded. We have no other choice. We opened the lock. We must close it again. At the same time, in deep space, the human warship Iron Hope gathered a fleet. It was the strongest ship ever built. It carried heavy weapons, fighters, and thousands of soldiers. Commander Jake Collins led the fleet. He gave only one order: delay the Korgai by time. The first tower was hidden on a moon far from any star. The surface was frozen. Horizon Echo landed near a deep hole in the ground. The signal from the tower was weak, but it was there. The crew wore heavy suits and walked into the darkness. Lights showed the path. They found the tower buried in ice. Eric studied the control panel. This one is broken. The power is too low. But maybe we can fix it. Laura looked at him, then do it fast. Suddenly, an alarm sounded on the ship. Nina ran too. Her console, a Korgai scout ship, was close. It was moving fast. They found us, Nina said. Laura gave the order. Hold them off. Get the tower working. The crew split up. Nina and 2 others stayed with the ship. Eric and Laura stayed at the tower. Eric worked fast. His hands shook, but he kept going. Outside, the Korgai ship attacked. Nina fired back with the ship's guns. One shot hit the enemy, but it was not enough. The Korgai ship returned fire. The ground shook. Eric shouted, almost there, just a little more. Laura watched the path. A shadow moved. Something was coming. Hurry, Eric. We have company. A tall creature stepped into the light. It had black armor and sharp arms. It screamed and charged. Laura fired her weapon. The shot slowed it, but it kept coming. Then Eric yelled. Done. The tower lit up. A strong wave of light pushed out. The creature stopped. It screamed again, but this time it fell. Back on the ship, the Korgai scout stopped moving. It dropped from the sky. Nina smiled. Whatever you did, it worked. Laura helped Eric up. 1 down, 3 to go. They left the moon quickly. The tower was working now. It was not enough to stop all the Korgai, but it gave them hope. News came from Commander Collins. His fleet had slowed the Korgai. Many ships were lost. Many people were dead. But Earth was still safe for now. On Horizon Echo, the crew headed to the next tower. This one was in the middle of a gas cloud. The ship had to move slowly. The sensors did not work well. It was like flying blind. Inside the cloud, they found a hidden station. It was old, not human. The tower was inside, but this one was different. It was guarded. Corgai machines waited around it, big ones. They had guns and claws. They did not move yet. They are waiting, Eric said. They know we are coming. Laura thought for a moment. Then she gave her order. We split into 2 teams. One will distract them. The other will fix the tower. Eric went with the second team. Nina stayed with the first. She flew a small ship close to the machines. They chased her. Eric reached the tower. He worked fast. The panel was hard to read. It was damaged. One of the machines returned. It saw them. It fired. A crew member was hit. He fell. Eric did not stop. He pressed the last button. The tower lit up. The machine froze and fell over. Laura helped Eric back to the ship. We are losing people, but we are getting closer. 2 towers were working. The signal was growing stronger, but the Corgai were angry now. They knew what the humans were doing. Every moment counted. Every mission was harder, but hope was growing. Laura looked at the stars. We will finish this, or we will die trying. The war had just begun, but the tide was starting to turn. The ship moved fast through space. Horizon Echo was now known by many. People called it the spark of hope. Captain Laura Grant and her crew had fixed 2 towers. The Corgai were not happy. Their ships were everywhere now. But Laura was not afraid. She stood in front of her crew. Her voice was calm. We have 2 towers left. We are halfway there. We cannot stop now. Eric Barnes showed a new map. The 3rd tower is near a dying star. The heat will be strong. We need shields at full power. Nina Wells looked at the map. We will not have much time near the star. If we stay too long, we burn. Laura nodded. Then we do it fast. In and out. As they got close to the star, the light outside the windows turned red. The heat made the ship shake. The engines made loud sounds. But the ship held together. The tower was on a small rock, floating near the star. It looked old and weak. Parts of it had melted. The signal was still there, but it was fading. We have to land now, Eric said. It may not last much longer. Laura and Eric took a small shuttle. Nina stayed on the main ship, ready to pull them out. The shuttle landed on the hot rock. The heat made the suits beep with warnings. Eric ran to the tower. He opened the panel and started working. Laura watched the star. It moved slowly, but its light was like fire. Eric shouted, "I need more time. The heat is making the system slow." Suddenly, the ground shook. A hole opened. A Corgai drone climbed out. It was large, with long arms and red eyes. Laura fired. The drone jumped. It landed near Eric. He tried to move, but the heat was too strong. Laura ran forward and pushed the drone. It fell, but more were coming. Now, Eric, we are out of time. Eric pressed the final button. The tower came to life. A light rose into the sky. The drones stopped. They turned into dust. Laura grabbed Eric and pulled him to the shuttle. They flew back fast. The ship's shields shook as they left the area. Back on the ship, Nina hugged them. "You made it." Eric smiled. 3 towers are working now. Only 1 left. The team rested for a short time. They had little food and no sleep, But they had no time to stop. The last tower was the most important. They needed help. On a base near Saturn, a scientist named Diane Ross was working on old alien files. She had found something big. The towers work better together. But to seal the core guy, we need all of them to fire at the same time. The power must come from a dying star. Only then can the seal work again. Laura spoke with her. We just saw a dying star. We can use that. Diane shook her head. Too late, that star is almost gone. But I found another. It is far, but strong. It can power the seal. The new star was near the edge of the galaxy. The tower was on a broken planet close to it. The trip would be long. The core guy would try to stop them. Commander Jake Collins sent a message. We will hold them. My fleet will buy you the time you need. The Horizon Echo started the journey. They passed many battle zones. Some places had no life left, only fire and metal. On the way, they stopped to help a damaged ship. Inside were survivors. One of them was a smart young pilot named Ryan Cole. He joined their crew. As they got closer to the final tower, the core guy started to move. Ships followed them. Traps were set. Laura gave orders. No matter what happens, we finish this. The ship reached the last planet. The tower was deep under the ground. The crew used drills to go down. The tower was huge, but it was not ready. Eric looked at it. It is locked. We need a code. Diane, who had come with them, studied the wall. These symbols are the key. They speak of a song, a sound that starts the tower. They played many sounds. Nothing worked. Then Ryan remembered something. The signal. We found at the first tower. Try that. Eric played it. The tower lit up. Suddenly, core guy warriors dropped from the sky. They landed hard. Weapons fired. The ground shook. Nina was hit. She fell back, blood on her side. Laura ran to her. Stay with me. We need you. Ryan fired at the core guy. Eric and Diane worked fast. They had to connect all 4 towers through a signal. The seal must begin now, Diane said. The star is almost ready. Eric looked at the screens. We need one person to stay and control it from here. Remote link is not strong enough. Ryan stood. Up, I will stay. Get everyone out. Laura grabbed his arm. You don't have to, I do. If we don't finish this, no one else will get the chance. The crew ran to the ship. Ryan stayed. He pressed the final command. The star exploded with light. 4 towers fired beams at the same time. The sky turned white. The waves spread fast. Across the galaxy, core guy ships stopped. They fell, they burned, they vanished. The seal had returned. The war was ending. Laura stood on the bridge. She looked at the star. We lost many, but we did not run. We stood, and we stopped them. The light faded. The stars were quiet again. But the memory of the war would stay forever. The stars were calm again. Space looked quiet, but many places still burned. The core guy were gone. The seal had worked, but the cost was high. Horizon Echo floated in orbit near the broken planet. The crew was quiet. No one spoke for a long time. They had won, but the feeling did not feel like victory. Laura Grant stood near the large window. She looked at the dying star. It had given everything to power the seal. She remembered Ryan Cole. He stayed behind. He gave his life. Eric Barnes walked in. His face was pale. His hands shook. The towers are stable. The signal is strong. The seal is holding. Laura nodded. Good. Thank you, Eric. Nina Wells was in the med bay. She was healing, but slowly. A doctor checked her wounds. She smiled weakly when Laura visited her. We did it, Nina said. I just wish Ryan was here. Laura held her hand. He will be remembered. All of them will. A message came from Earth Command. The leaders spoke with soft voices. Their faces showed loss. Commander Jake Collins had fallen in the last battle. Many ships were gone. But the core guy was sealed. The galaxy was safe again. Earth Command asked Laura and her crew to return. They were called heroes now. News stations spoke their names. People on every world thanked them. But Laura did not care about fame. She only wanted peace. Horizon Echo flew home. As they passed near old battlefields, the crews saw burned ships and floating debris. Some of the wrecks were from the first battles. They reminded everyone of the price they paid. When they reached Earth, people waited. There were flags, music, and lights. But the crew did not smile. They walked slowly. They carried the weight of the war. Laura gave a speech at the ceremony. Her voice was strong. We came to explore. We did not mean to start a war. But when we did not run. We stood together. We lost friends. We lost homes. But we did not give up. We fought to fix our mistake. And we did. She paused. The crowd was silent. This is not the end. This is the start of something new. We must watch the stars. We must be ready. We must be careful. Curiosity is good, but we must be wise. After the speech, a monument was built. It was placed at the site of the first tower, the one where it all began. The metal was black and silver. In the center was a small flame that never went out. On the stone were the names of those who died. At the top it said, "In curiosity we opened the door. In unity we closed it again." Laura and her crew stood in front of it. Eric placed a small badge on the stone. It was Ryan's. Time passed. The towers were guarded now. No one could touch them again. The core guy were trapped behind the seal. They would not return. But the memory stayed. New laws were made. Exploration ships had new rules. No one was allowed to activate unknown signals without full study. Laura was offered a high rank. She turned it down. She stayed with Horizon Echo. She wanted to fly. She wanted to protect. Eric became a teacher. He helped new crews learn from the past. Nina stayed with the ship. Her wounds healed. Her heart did not forget. Diane Ross went. Back to her lab, she studied the alien files. She said there were more secrets out there. But this time, they would go slow. Years later, children learned about the war. They read books, they watched videos, but they did not know the fear. They only saw the courage. People still looked at the stars, but now they looked with care. Laura sat in her room on Horizon Echo. She watched the stars. They looked peaceful. She smiled a little. We were tested, she whispered, and we passed. Somewhere far away, behind the seal, the core guy waited. But they could not break free. The light of the towers held strong. The galaxy had peace, and as long as someone remembered, it would stay that way. The story was not about war. It was about choice. It was about facing fear. It was about standing when all seemed lost. And in the end, it was about hope. Asterisk months had passed since the seal was restored. Life slowly returned to normal across human space. Planets began to rebuild. Stations repaired their walls. Ships carried food, medicine, and people again. But deep in the minds of many, the fear of the core guy still remained. Captain Laura Grant sat on the bridge of Horizon Echo. The ship was quiet. Stars moved past the windows. The crew had taken time to rest, but now they were ready again. "New orders, Captain," said Eric Barnes. "We are to explore Sector 9. It was closed during the war. Now Earth Command wants it scanned." Laura looked at the screen. "Sector 9 is close to where the third tower was. We know that space is not safe." Nina Wells joined in. "But if there's anything left there, we need to know. We cannot let another danger stay hidden." Laura nodded. "Prepare the ship. We go at first light." The next day, Horizon Echo entered Sector 9. The stars there looked darker. The ship's lights moved through dust and shadows. Old wrecks floated by. Some were human, some were not. "Picking up a weak signal," said Eric. "It's old, but not from us. It matches the alien code from the towers." Laura stood up. "Track it." They followed the signal to a small moon hidden behind an asteroid belt. The moon had no name. It was cold, grey, and quiet. But the signal was clear now. They landed the ship. Laura, Eric, and 2 others stepped outside. The ground crunched under their boots. The wind was dry and thin. In the center of the moon stood a strange structure. It was round, with smooth walls and no doors. Lights moved across its surface. Eric studied the signals. "It's not a tower, but it's connected to them. Maybe a backup, maybe a warning system." Laura walked round it. She found a panel half buried in the dirt. She touched it. The wall opened with a loud sound. A long hallway led inside. They entered. The lights turned on by themselves. The hallway led to a large room filled with strange machines. "This place is very old," Eric said. "Older than the towers." In the center of the room was a glowing sphere. It floated above the ground. Inside the sphere was something that looked like a map. Diane Ross, who joined the team later, looked at it closely. "This is a star map. It shows systems across the galaxy. Some are marked in red." Eric stepped closer. "These red marks, they show danger zones. Places the old race tried to lock. The core guy were just one of them." Laura looked around. "There are more threats." Diane nodded. "Yes, the core guy were the worst, but not the only ones. This place was their watchtower." The map changed. A part of the galaxy flashed. A new signal started. Eric checked it. "It's another lock, but this one is weak. It's failing." Laura looked at her team. "We must tell Earth Command. This cannot wait." They rushed back to the ship. The engine started. As they left the moon, something moved behind them. A hidden door on the surface opened. A drone flew out. It watched them, then flew in the other direction. Eric saw it. That drone was not ours, and it didn't attack. Laura frowned. "Maybe it's a messenger. Maybe someone else is watching too." They reached the edge of Sector 9. A call came through from Earth. The signal was weak, but clear. "Return to base. We are seeing strange activity near the Orion path. Same energy as the old towers. We need your team." Laura looked at her crew. No one spoke. Everyone understood. Nina smiled a little. "Looks like rest is over." Laura gave a small nod. "Set course for Orion path. This is just the beginning." As the ship turned, the stars ahead looked sharp and bright. They were heading into the unknown again. But this time, they knew what they faced. Hope, loss, strength, and unity had brought them this far. The war had ended, but the duty had not. And as Horizon Echo moved into the stars once more, a quiet truth followed them. The galaxy was wide. The galaxy was old. And not all its secrets had been found. But humans were ready now. They had faced the deadliest. They had survived. And if the stars called again, they would answer together.